Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. We can talk about any relationship that we want from Descendants past or present. But the reason why there are no other relationships that are looked at or ever examined is because this relationship between Mal and Ben starting out as a friendship was meant to happen. And that's why it's received so much criticism, but because of the love and support from Descendants and Zombies fans, because of this universe, Mal and Ben's relationship has forever and always been cherished. It's forever and always held a special place in all of our hearts, and that's why we still talk about it nearly a decade later. It's really hard to believe that it's been a decade since Descendants and this relationship was first profiled and looked at, how Maleficent's daughter Mal came from out of nowhere, the Isle of the Lost, trying to achieve acceptance, trying to find her place in the world, really trying to figure out who she is. Haven't we all? I thought we saw ourselves through the eyes of Mal more than we had any other character in Descendants history, so that's why the emphasis was always and forever on her, and why she became so loyal to this project, and why she wanted to come off as a huge inspiration to millions of people, and she most certainly did because of her friendship with Ben. Because Ben was of course supposed to spend the rest of his life out with Audrey, and she wouldn't stop at nothing until she won his heart. And she tried to do it with magic, I do believe. Is that correct? That's how it happened? She tried to cast a magic spell on Ben. But gradually, she realized she didn't need magic. All she needed to be was herself. And that was the most valuable lesson that was taught to anybody who was ever a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Because if you truly love somebody, the best person you can perceive yourself for being is you. And the reason for that is because there's only one you, and you only have one life to live and only one opportunity to make count. And I think she was a perfect illustration of just how far kindness can really take a person in this lifetime. By Descendants 2, of course, she got rid of the purple wig, and she donned her beautiful blonde hair, and I really loved this metamorphosis that we saw her go through by Descendants 2, because we not only saw one side of Mal's character, we saw both sides of Mal's character, going back and forth between the purple and the blonde hair. I really love this. I really love the evolution of the character. You know, many years ago in high school, during English class, the teacher asked me to describe a situation, and the one word that popped into my head was evolution. And I really do believe we've seen Mal go through so many evolutions over the years because of her relationship with Ben, and how valuable it became to the franchise, and for how it stood out for its unforgettable moments, that picnic they were on when Mal first realized that the spell wasn't really what she had to rely on to win over Ben's heart, because she was able to do it, turning Audrey into an evil queen, which was very different from what Sleeping Beauty's daughter you would have thought would have been in the movie. It was a really adverse effect on the villains and the heroes in the franchise, but I really do believe that this twist that the plot took really turned out for the better, because it presented Mal with more challenges than ever before that she had to overcome, to triumph over love, and it was just a beautiful story. Regardless of how people choose to look at the Descendants franchise as a whole, saying there should have been more relationships, there should have been more friendships, this was just a beautiful story because of what Mal and Ben represented. And for those of you wondering what Mal and Ben have represented after 10 years, it was really hope. And that's why I can give them a profound amount of credit on the show and get away with it, because I think that if you're going to talk about Mal and Ben's relationship, you shouldn't criticize it. You should show up on your YouTube channel and give people hope out there, because this can happen for them. As we saw this story begin to unfold and become deeper from Descendants chapter to Descendants chapter, it gave more people hope that they could find true love, which is something that I really give the writers and producers of Descendants franchise as a whole a profound amount of credit, because I really do believe that this franchise exploded because of this relationship between Mal and Ben in the many ways that it was looked at. You know, people, what really got me about the critics were they were trying to analyze this relationship. They were trying to talk about it in the way that this relationship didn't belong in any Disney fairy tale, but sure it did. You know, for any fan of Descendants and Zombies, it really did belong in a Disney fairy tale. And it really made you think of all the legendary princesses who found true love, from Cinderella many years ago to Sleeping Beauty in 1958. Disney's spins on these beloved classics were really beautiful. I know, because I was there for the premieres of them, and I watched virtually every single one of them, dating all the way back to Snow White, which was turned from a silent film, one of Disney's very first movies, that he turned into an instant classic in 1938. By 1938, Disney produced over 100 movies, which was incredible, going from 1938 and beyond because of seeing silent movies like Snow White. And these princesses became so revered because of their stories. It was almost meant for Descendants to happen. So you can choose to criticize Descendants all you want, But the reality is, Descendants of Zombies has become so revered for how it's touched so many wonderful hearts. And it's changed so many wonderful lives because of how much of an impact love can have on somebody's soul. I really did appreciate the story between Mal and Ben. Do I think it could have went further? Do I think it could have been deeper? Sure I do. I think more of a chance can be taken on love for everybody out there. And I really do believe, I really mean when I say this, that true love does exist for everybody out there. I think that a lot of people have been doubted in their crusade to find love over the years, no matter how long it takes you to find it. I think there's somebody out there for everybody. I really do believe that. Now, of course, this is coming from a guy who went to his high school prom without any date, that had no girlfriend more times throughout his lifetime than he's ever admitted to you publicly on this show. But I really do believe that there is true love for somebody out there. It can happen when you least expect it. Because the thing about love is love has this very unique way of creeping up on people. And I think that if you give it more of a chance, the hope that exists for this is truly endless and truly mind-blowing. And that's really what Descendants for me represented as a whole. Descendants represented hope, second chances, a rebirth, if you would, a reincarnation of everybody to really represent themselves in a way that they were always and forever meant to represent themselves, which is why I give the writers and producers of Descendants of Zombies a profound amount of credit for doing this, because not only in Descendants did we see this, we saw this exemplified in the relationship between Zed and Addison. We're seeing it in the relationship exemplified between Victor and Nova. These four beautiful relationships examined and looked at in these franchises are something that I can never get enough of. And I really do wish, I really do wish that there were more relationships looked at from the original Descendants trilogy. Because, of course, Cameron Boyce could have had a love interest. Evie could have had a love interest. I think they were teasing it. And I think they wanted to go in many different directions with the plot when it came to the relationships. But because of how much emphasis Mal and Ben had on this franchise, and particularly they were lost in the moment, they were falling for each other, head over heels, in love with each other. I'll never forget that woods scene where, of course, Mal and Ben went on this picnic, and then Ben went swimming in his king trunks, and she really loved that, and she was, so overcome. She was tickled pink. I will never forget that, how they went out into the woods, and they took over 100 scenes, 100 cuts, and really collaborated this beautiful scene for the If Only music video. Kenny Ortega would stop at nothing until he got the right cuts for the scene, and Dove Cameron was so dedicated to this ballad, getting over in the Descendants franchise. I really think this was a definitive moment that really went down in history for defining Dove Cameron and who she was really all about. Because those of you who don't know, Dove Cameron takes a lot of pride in, as an actress, bringing a character to life. She will sit down with a writer and producer, and she will try to, put forth ideas, even though Disney stars really weren't given enough creative control years ago. I really do believe that more creative control should have been bestowed on some of your all-time favorites. But she would sit down with the writers and producers, and she would present ideas to separate her characters from others that were a part of the franchise. And that's why Dove Cameron's characters became so revered and ultimately so respected, is because she was able to separate character traits from other people who were a part of the franchise, who were on set with her, and her ideas not only brought the best out of her own character, but brought the best out of everybody she worked with. I really do believe that Ben's character was more infamous in this movie, and he had more of a critical role and impact on the franchise had because of Dove Cameron. If he would have worked with anybody else as the princess he fell in love with, I really have my doubts that she would have gotten over as much as what Dove Cameron was able to get over Mal. And I really believe that he wouldn't have gotten over as much as what he did because of Mal's contributions. Regardless of how you feel about Mal, Mal was a very revered character because she was very different. And she didn't really care how anybody really thought about her. That was the thing about Mal. Mal didn't care what anybody thought of her. And I think more people don't care what anybody thinks of them now because they're able to stand up in the face of adversity. They're able to face adversity head on, which is what I really love about the Descendants franchise. It offered you encouragement. It offered you hope that a dream could exist for everybody out there. And I really do believe that a dream can happen for everybody, because every goal that I ever had, came to be a reality for me after I watched Descendants for the first time ever over a decade ago. The first time I watched Descendants, I was 25 years old. I had a lot of goals that I wanted to set for myself and achieve, and I was able to do it because of Disney franchises really coming into their own. They were moving out of traditional animation. They were putting past TV shows, live actions behind them, and they were moving into a whole new generation that was represented by Marvel and sci-fi. Zombies fit perfectly into the equation and into the storyboards they were presenting. So it was really cool. It was a really cool time to be a fan of Disney, and if you had never been a fan of Descendants, I think by Descendants 3, when everything just came full circle for the franchise, there was never a better time, more evident to become a fan of Descendants of Zombies. Of course, we were just coming out of the passing of Cameron Boyce and how emotional that was. I will never forget that summer, July 6, 2019, has been a date carved in my memory for forever, as it has many people who were fans of Descendants of Zombies. We will never forget his contributions. And I think this love story between Mal and Ben is something that Cameron Boyce really loved, and he was so supportive of, because he was so supportive of Dove Cameron being the lead actress in this franchise, because I think everybody at a point in time in their life wanted to live the life of Mal, wanted to be like their favorite Descendant star, regardless if you remember them from their favorite song that defined the character or their favorite moment that really defined their legacy. Because I think everybody gets to this moment in time in their life when they want to have their legacy defined. And I really do believe that Mal's legacy will be forever solidified. I got that from all the photos and all the PR that Dove Cameron was doing for photo shoots for the Descendants franchise, because she was so appreciative of the moment, because she was so appreciative of each and every one of you, because you guys presented Dove Cameron with a chance to really stand out, and stand out more than she ever had, with every role that defined her characters over the years, like Liv and Maddie Rooney from Liv and Maddie days to Descendants. I really do believe Descendants is the most definitive Disney character that she has ever had the honor of portraying. And if not for Mel's contributions to the franchise, I really don't believe, I've got my doubts, this franchise would have ever gotten over. I don't think Kylie Cantrell would have been able to do as fabulous of a job as what she's doing right now as the Red character, Princess Red, without the contributions of Dove Cameron, because she was really an inspiration, because that's what she wanted to be, was an inspiration to everybody. You know, stand up, don't care what anybody thinks of you, and just go for your dreams. And that's what I've forever supported about the relationship between Mal and Ben. You know, I've seen so many people of all walks of life, different age demographics, who have been inspired by Mal's character because of just how fearless Mal was. She took the world on head on. She came from the Isle of the Lost. Nobody knew anything about her, and she just stood out. From that very first moment in the Rotten to the Core music video, we knew these characters were going to be something special, regardless of who you fell in love with or you saw yourself through the eyes of. We knew we were going to be a part of history. And as the years passed, Descendants of Zombies grew in popularity. It became a global phenomenon. We took something that started as a whisper, and it exploded. And that was the greatest honor of my life, having the honor to meet each and every one of you and to commentate on Descendants of Zombies. And I just want you guys to know that regardless of what happens to me in my career, where I go from here, I will never forget any of you, because having the honor to talk about the relationship of Mal and Ben this morning is really the greatest honor of my life, and there's no place in the world I would rather be than right here with each and every one of you. You know, I really do like the whole idea of Mal and Ben falling in love, having a baby, living happily ever after. I really would have loved for Disney to have had that written into the story. By the royal wedding, they had gotten married and their story had been told and completed. But I saw all these thumbnails that people were creating about Mal and Ben falling in love forever and always having a baby, so the legacy of Descendants would live on forever and always. The legacy of Mal and Ben would be carried on. I think that would have been an awesome way to set up for the new franchise. I know The Rise of Red was teased by the end of the royal wedding. I watched that actually just last night. It was a beautiful movie with the original cast lending their voices to the soundtrack of Descendants. That was really cool, being animated for the first time ever. I say this because I've always wanted to partake in lending my voice to the soundtrack of a Disney movie. I really would like to do some voiceover work, especially having the opportunity to record over 45 minutes of effort sounds when your character's in danger, and doing the whole kind of thing. I really would love to do that kind of thing. I think there's a greater appreciation, you know, getting paid to sit behind a microphone and bring some of Disney's most beloved characters to life. I've always wanted to be the voice of Maximus for Tangled. I've always wanted to be the voice of Olaf from Frozen. And I've always wanted to be the voice of the rabbit, if they ever CGI'd a rabbit for Descendants. So I'm just putting it out there. If Red ever has a pet rabbit who can talk, I'll bring him to life. I really will. Because I think you guys deserve a lot better in the way of reviews for Descendants of Zombies. And you're going to have to forgive me because I'm a real sweetheart. And I just want to make sure that there are really cool videos out there for you guys about Descendants of Zombies that you'll forever and always hit my like button button for. I don't know how much of a reach these videos have every single time that I upload them on YouTube, but I like to believe that I touch somebody's heart some way or somehow through talking about Mel, through talking about Red, because I really do love every character in Descendants. I really don't have a favorite character, but if I had to pick one, it would have to be Bridget, because Bridget really inspired me to be a kinder person to people in my own life and really turn my life around when I least expected it. When I heard news of Ruby Rose Turner joining the cast of The Rise of Red, I was incredibly thrilled because I was excited to see where Ruby was going to go from here on out into the foreseeable future. And, you know, moving forward, I was really hoping that Ruby was going to last longer with the Descendants franchise because I had a greater appreciation for her character and what she was offering to the franchise. And I really do believe as a whole, she contributed more than she was ever given credit for, because that song, Life is Sweeter With You Are, was a song that really got stuck in my head. It was a bubblegum type song that really allowed me to put my own life into perspective. And I think as like If Only did for each of you in the original Descendants franchise, really allowing you to believe that, you know, the magic could last just a little bit longer, with Mal hoping that the magic spell would last a little bit longer on Ben's heart. But the greatest achievement was when she realized she didn't need magic to win him, because she won him just by her actions and how she perceived herself in the movie, because the best person in the world that you can be for anybody that you love is you, regardless of how they feel about you in return, because sometimes, I know, the feeling is never mutual, but if a guy can't see a girl for his true worth, then you're pretty much wasting your time and you need to move on from the situation and find better for yourself, because everybody deserves something wonderful in their life. Everybody deserves something miraculous to happen when they least expect it. I just spoke on how love has this way of creeping up from behind you when you least expect it. You're probably the biggest crush on a guy in your class. You're probably the biggest crush on a guy who sits behind you every day on the school bus. You only have one life to live, and you only have one chance to make it count and to be noticed. And if that person can't see you for who you truly are without having to be somebody completely different, perceive yourself in a totally different way, then he's really missing out on an incredible opportunity. And I may just be saying this because I've been around for a very long time and I've seen the best of them come and go, but I think these stars have done a fabulous job really exemplifying that and really putting that on display in a way that I don't think any other cast, past or present, would have been able to do it. I think because of Dove Cameron's contributions, Sophia Carson's contributions, Cameron Boyce's contributions, and so on, as you see the pattern, I really believe this franchise has really been set in motion to become the greatest of all time, and certainly one of the most revered. I love talking about Descendants and Zombies. I can record up to hundreds of videos on Descendants and Zombies. It's only 11:53 a.m. this morning. It's not even dinner, and I've already uploaded over 3 or 4 videos about Descendants and Zombies already on this YouTube channel, which is truly unprecedented. It's truly unbelievable how, you know, I go above and beyond for everybody talking about Descendants and Zombies on my YouTube channel, because I really do believe that there's a certain pride and a passion that goes with talking about Descendants and Zombies. I really do believe that if you're going to show up on your YouTube channel and talk about Descendants and Zombies, you've got to do it in such a way that it touches everybody's heart, that everybody runs away from talking about Descendants and Zombies with the same passion that you exemplify in your videos. And if you're going to show up and talk about Mal and Ben, well then show up and talk about Mal and Ben in a way that it gets over on your YouTube channel and it touches somebody's heart. Like today, the majority of the conversation is revolving around Descendants 2. Tomorrow could be a different topic. But that's what creates diversity. I do it in a way that there's something here for everybody, because I do know I have a lot of fans of the original Descendants cast who are subscribed to this YouTube channel, and I want them to know that I haven't forgotten about them. I do love them, and I do love talking about their favorite stars from the past. I do know I have a lot of Cameron Boyce fans who love the Cameron Boyce tribute videos. I threw just one up literally over an hour ago about Cameron Boyce, and then Sophia Carson again this morning, because I know I have a lot of Sophia Carson fans subscribed to this YouTube channel. So I like to do it with a certain pride and a passion, because a lot of people will just focus on their favorite songs from the franchise, or a lot of people will just focus on their favorite moments from the franchise and they'll rank them. But when they rank them, they don't even explain why their favorite moment was the moment they chose. If you're ranking, say, your top 10 favorite moments, then at least offer an explanation as to why you love these top 5 favorite moments from the franchise. Because in all honesty, I think that the fans of Descendants and Zombies, who know more than they're ever given credit for, deserve to know why your favorite 5 moments are the 5 moments you chose. That's why I don't love to rank certain moments, because to be honest with each and every one of you, I don't have a favorite moment. I think every moment of significance is to be noted. I think every moment of significance in the franchise is one that we will never ever forget, because it was our favorite moment. That's why we don't forget them. So The thing is, I think there's a greater appreciation than just sitting in front of your camera with a notebook and a piece of paper and writing down your top 10 favorite moments and ranking them. I think that the best way to do it is with an open heart and an open mind, and however your video is going to be perceived, that's up to the audience. That's why the creator of the video and the distributor has to have a greater appreciation for his audience and keep giving them what they want. And that's why I've loved to give you guys what you want. That's why I've loved creating these videos for you guys, and I've already uploaded my third podcast at just 11:56 a.m. this morning. It's not even lunch. I really do love talking about Descendants of Zombies. So the way this is going to go is I will return just before sunset tonight with one final video to upload for you guys, and I'll probably talk about my favorite Descendants songs. While I may never be able to rank them, I'll probably just share with you my thoughts on my favorite Descendants songs, because I've talked about everything from Sophia Carson to Cameron Boyce to now Mal and Ben's relationship. I think that there are never enough videos uploaded about Descendants of Zombies. That's my issue with the product. I think there's never and always been enough videos uploaded about Descendants of Zombies, so at least on this YouTube channel you guys know that a video is going to be uploaded about Descendants of Zombies. And that same appreciation that each and every one of you have for Descendants of Zombies is showcased in every video that is uploaded on this YouTube channel. I really do love recording up to 2 hours of content every day for you guys, because there's no place in the world I would rather be, or any honor that I would rather have bestowed upon me, than being here able to talk about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you in the way that it was meant to be talked about, because I really did believe in Mal and Ben's relationship. I really did believe in how far it came, how much of a representation of hope existed for everybody after they saw this really come to life. Because you realized in that moment that happily ever after existed, had the greatest chance of ever existing, did you not? And that's exactly what the writers and producers wanted you to think, wanted you to keep holding on to, because a dream is a wish that starts with your heart. I know that's a quote from Cinderella, but it's a quote that I've always believed in, because a dream does start with your heart. And if you put that dream into action, to quote the victorious theme song Make It Shine from many years ago, the endless possibilities that you can achieve are really mind-blowing. And that's what I love. I love hearing stories about how people set a dream in action and they achieved it. And that's what I've wanted to do. My mom was a school teacher for many, many years, and that's exactly what she wanted to do, teaching her students every single day for up to 25 years. And I'm sitting here nearly 30 years later trying to instill that in all of your minds. Because I really do believe that hope really does have the greatest chance ever of existing for somebody more than it ever has before, because from out of nowhere, Descendants of Zombies has showed up and really changed their perspective on life. And that's the reason behind this show. That's why this is the #1 Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the world, if you haven't already figured that out. And this really has been the greatest honor of my life. The summer of 2025 will be remembered for contributions for the Worlds Collide Tour, for the contributions of the stars, these beautiful videos they are throwing up on their social media accounts. Mind-blowing, still remembering the contributions of Descendants of Zombies and the impact it's had on their hearts and their lives. Because regardless of how you feel about it, it's changed the lives of Kylie Control and Dove Cameron for forever. No matter how many times Dove Cameron tries to hide behind the fact of her leaving her Disney past behind her, Descendants changed her life for forever because her character Mal was so iconic. The reason why it changed Kylie Control's life for forever was because Red became so revered as a princess of Wonderland. And by Descendants 5 with Wonderland, this opens up the door for more intriguing plots, more intriguing ideas, and I couldn't be more honored to be here to cover it for you guys, because I really feel special. I really feel as if I'm touching people's hearts through a collaboration of these videos. I'm wearing diamond pattern sweaters every morning on my YouTube channel, and I love it. I'm wearing the colors of Descendants, for those of you who didn't notice this morning in the 3 videos I've uploaded. So we will continue this trend throughout the evening. It is Friday evening. I'm really excited about the forthcoming weekend, because again, I will be here all throughout the weekend covering Descendants of Zombies for you guys in videos on this YouTube channel. It's TGIF, and there's no better way to spend TGIF than with Jonathan Clarke on YouTube discussing everything Descendants of Zombies, because I promised you guys I was going to upload a Descendants of Zombies video every day for the rest of my life. And some way or somehow I like to believe that I've followed through on that promise of delivering on Descendants of Zombies videos every day for the rest of my life. This is really the greatest honor of my life, and really what I consider to be a passion. Talking about Descendants of Zombies really is a passion. No matter if you're talking about Mel and Ben's relationship, the only relationship of significance in the franchise. There could have been more, I know, but this is a relationship that I think is never given enough credit, and we're showcasing Descendants of Zombies on this YouTube channel for what its true worth and true value is, and there's no better way to do that than by discussing Mel and Ben for how I see it. A beautiful relationship that turned out for the better. Everybody was happy because of it. There may have been more of a story to be told. They believe they've told and completed it, but I really do believe that stories are far from over, and that is more evident than ever before with the forthcoming Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland in summer of 2026. July 2026 is going to be huge. I would love to see Descendants released around the same time Descendants 3 was released on August 2nd. 2019. They pushed Descendants 3 a bit further ahead than the original Descendants releases in July of 2015 and 2017. But, it is what it is. Guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. Keep showing your love and support for Descendants of Zombies as you stay calm and zombie on into the foreseeable future. We will talk again at sunset this evening.